I'm often asked how I choose what engine I'm going to take apart for a video. I mean, I've got plenty of engines here, and I've even shown you guys engines that I haven't gotten to months ago. I still have the Cummins 6.7, I still have a Power Stroke 7.3, I have a Duramax, an LLY engine, I have that V12 Mercedes engine, and I got some new stuff in. I got 2 different 4.7 Toyota engines, both non-VVT and VVT, and I got a Toyota 5.7, so that one will be pretty soon. I usually get pretty excited. But I like to look back at what I've done most recently. That's the best answer for you. Whether it was domestic or European or Japanese, I like to alternate between the 3. And also, what was the failure mode? Was that engine a complete bomb? Was it a catastrophic failure and nothing survived? Or was it something relatively minor and I got a whole bunch of good parts to sell? Was it easy? Was it hard? I like to kind of mix it up a little bit. And it occurred to me that 2 weeks ago, I did that OM 642 Mercedes diesel, which was a pudding machine, but nothing catastrophically failed inside. And then last week's Honda teardown, which wasn't much of a teardown if I'm being honest, that really wasn't too bad either. So we are due for something as horrific as possible, and I'm not trying to spoil anything. I looked through all of the engines I've got here, and it's been a while since I did an LS architecture engine, and I have one that's very bad. It's more a window than a door. I think, wait, there's a saying about that. Anyway, this engine has failed catastrophically, and I don't even need to take it apart to show you, but I'm going to take this engine completely down. This is a 6.2 liter L9H out of an 09 Yukon Denali. It was extremely cheap, so this is not a loss already. The intake manifold is worth more than I paid for the engine, so the rest of this is just profit and, well, curiosity for you guys and myself. Let's see if anything survived this absolute blowout. And this is kind of what I'm talking about here. You can see daylight, well, flashlight, all the way through this engine. Well, even though we know this is bad, we're going to start like we normally do and pull all the plugs and see what the plugs look like. This is honestly better than I expected. We have 7 plugs that a human or a machine that wasn't this engine set the gap, and then we have 1 engine set gap. Just 1. But hey, I might get 1 good head out of this, which is much more than I bargained for after seeing the block. But yeah, that plug looks like it got in a fight with a piston, so I think we're in for it. Next, I'm going to pull the coils and then the intake manifold. Well, the driver's side bank all looks pretty normal. Just a little fluid from it sitting. I mean, we don't know if it's oil or it doesn't look like water. But the passenger side looks pretty rough. That one doesn't look too bad. That one, though, that one's got a bunch of debris on top of the valve. That's the one from the engine gap spark plug. And that one's got some debris on it as well. Next is take the driver's side valve cover off. Everything looks pretty normal. I don't see any signs of metal or debris in here. This side looks pretty good. Let's go to the other side. Well, that was loose, or not in there. Nothing horrendously obvious like destroyed valve spring, a bent valve, although I'm sure it has some damage. But I did find this piece of aluminum. Pretty good sized chunk. And that definitely came from somewhere. I just don't know where, not just yet. Next, let's get the rockers and the stand off of this side. That all looks okay. Wow. Push rod has some weird damage on it. Not damage, just like a weird scratch. Uh-oh. That's not right. I think we'll have to see a doctor about this. Only one bent push rod. I mean, that's still pretty good, right? Just one. Now, the driver's side. Hey, that's not supposed to be like that. Before we shoot the head bolts out of this thing, we're going to go ahead and get the steam pipe off of it and then the top 10mm head bolts out, and then we'll get the heads off. All right, let's go ahead and shoot these head bolts out. I don't think this thing's gonna leak on me. I don't think there's anything in it. I think famous last words, right? I guess nobody told that intake valve that there's already valve reliefs. We don't need an extra one. So now I gotta go check the head to see if there's any damage. But the bores look good on this side, which doesn't really matter at all because this block is trash. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. At first glance, this head looks pretty good, actually. I don't see any damage on that intake valve from hitting the piston. There is a mark, and I am still willing to bet that that intake valve is slightly bent. What will likely happen is if this head comes out of the parts washer without cracks, which is like 50-50 these days, then we'll go ahead and put an intake valve in it and sell it as a good builder head, something to go through. These are actually 823 heads. These are the rectangle port LS3 style heads. There's 823, 821, and 5364. And those numbers are simply the last of the casting number or the part number of the cylinder head. As far as I'm concerned, they all use all the same valve train parts, all the same valves in them. You can get 821s, or you can get almost any casting number on almost any engine, although the LS3 almost exclusively came with 821s or 823s. I've never seen the 5364 casting number on an actual LS3. But as far as I'm concerned, the heads are all pretty much the same. I know there's minor differences that people claim, but it's still a good sellable head. Maybe, if it's not cracked. Now for the spicy side. All right, we're gonna get this head off. Go to your happy place. Just go to your happy place. Oh boy. This 6.2 liter GM V8 features GM's latest technology of cylinder deactivation by destruction. Total destruction. But it looks like the rod and cap, the remnants, are still bolted to the crank, and it doesn't feel like there's any play in the bearing. That's pretty bad. And this piston also has a mark from kissing a valve, which at that point it doesn't matter. I mean, that head, let's go take a look at that head. I've torn down hundreds of these LS engines, and I am still impressed when I find this kind of damage. Although, I think this head could be fixed. You just gotta shave some ramen noodles down, kind of cram them in there and sand it down, and then spray some silver paint. It would be just good as new. Okay, I know this isn't the greatest idea, but I've had worse. Actually turns over pretty good. Until it doesn't, actually. It sounds like a cash register in there. Okay, that's enough playing around. Let's get this thing apart. Well, it's been a while since one of these engines turned me into Miles Davis, but I don't think this is going to be the one. I think it's drained. Oh, you tried. It tried. Go ahead and get this balancer off. Well, it looks like that rod, that push rod, the rod I used to use the puller, looks like the push rod out of this engine. It's all bent. Now let's go ahead and get this front timing cover off. Well, man, it's like half of these come apart with a broken timing guide. I'm not supposed to be able to just pull this stuff off. Look how... Uh-oh! Well, that's not okay. Why is that happening? How is that happening? What happened here? But that's a first. That's a big first. I don't even think I can... Well, you know what? Let's try it. Let's try to get the cam gear off. This is going to be a disaster. Oh my god, it came off. Really bad things are happening right now. Well, I think that's... Oh no, I bet you that cam is seized. Let's see if I can even get this chain off of here. I definitely might be able to. Yes. Look at that. That bolt sheared off. And that can happen a couple different ways, but I bet that cam is seized. But I don't know if that happened because it blew up inside. Wow, tickle me impressed. Let's go ahead and pull the lifters and trays out and see what those look like. Well, there's bits of debris everywhere. Little chunks of aluminum. It definitely came from somewhere. Well, I don't think that one's coming out. Nope. Well, that lifter is stuck. I wonder why. That one came out. Nope. Well, that's two that won't come out. Oh, these are, so far, the ones that have come out look okay. I don't know if that says a lot, though. Oh, man. I'm going to try a little harder on this one. There must be some metal keeping these things from coming out. Unless the bottom of these is blown apart, which is completely possible. Let's go to the other side. More debris. We're having better luck with lifters so far. Oh, I had to say something. Oh, that one is part of the block now. So is that one. That was the cylinder that let go, so I bet there's all kinds of stuff happening in there that is not supposed to be. And the rest of these look okay. Alright, let's flip this over. I can't get the cam out yet, not with the stuck lifters in there, so we're going to flip this thing upside down, get the pan off, and, well, I'm sure we'll be in for some surprises there too. I'll be surprised if there's any fluid in here, but really, probably not. There's fluid in there. Of course there's fluid in there. How is that possible? This thing sounds like a piggy bank. Oh, we're getting chunks now. Oh, we got some big chunks in there. Those must be quarters. There we go. Get it out. Oh, we're losing stuff here. Oh, that was just part of the tensioner. I think that's it. Now it's time to pull the pan, which is like the grand unveiling. Wow. That bolt, that block is broken right here so bad that this bolt is bent. I'll get that in a minute. Oh, that bolt was in there sideways, and that bolt is bent. That's the first bent oil pan bolt I've seen from one of these motors. Okay, so this shouldn't really fight me coming off. Oh man, parts are gonna hit the floor. Maybe not, but wow. Holy crap. Oh, this is awesome. Well, I pulled the baffle out just so I can show you this. It is magnificent. This isn't as bad as I've seen, because I can still kind of identify, like, there's part of a oil ring, there's a ooh, look, I got both circlips out of the wrist pin, and the rest of this is probably piston material. There's a little bit of compression ring and oil control ring in here. Just a little variety. But this is the coolest part. This failure nearly split the windage tray in half. It just shredded the block windage tray, and I'm sure the pickup has damage as well from what is likely, it looks like one rod. If one rod, well, okay. That might be worse than I thought. Might be two, but I think it's just one. And the pickup is crammed with piston material, and there's some ring material in there as well. I'm sure it just started making noise this morning, you know. I before I knew it, it just shut off. I have no idea what happened. Let's get the pickup off of the oil pump and get the oil pump off this engine. Well, the O-ring looks pretty decent. Still soft, it's not too flat. The oil pump looks pretty decent inside, although there's a little bit of debris. Get the rest of that chain off of there. Let's go ahead and get this pickup and what's left of this windage tray off of here. Wow, that pickup has dents from that rod. That's amazing. Look at that. That's awesome. That thing is chewed up pretty bad. Oh, there's cylinder number 6, piston. There's the top of the rod. There's the missing wrist pin. Still good. Oh man, this is much worse than I thought. And then back here is crammed with more parts of cylinder 6. Let's get this piece out. Come on. Come to me. A piston McNugget. I don't have any sauce. Sometimes they're still good on their own. That's the hammer that did all the damage right there. It's like smoothed down from all of the impacts. Check that out. There's the rod that is responsible for all this damage. Look at the end of that. It's pretty impressive. Well, there's only one thing left to do. Actually, there's a lot of things left to do. So we're going to pull the rods and pistons out and see what survived and what didn't. That one's got some fun stuff in it. Let's see if we can turn this over and get access to some more of the rod bolts. Oh, it's raining. Perfect. See if my impact will take these out. Oh yeah. That's much easier. Time for the last two. That one's gonna be a lot of fun. I think we'll just leave that one on the crank for now. Or maybe we'll try. Yeah, screw it, let's try. I can only hurt myself once tonight, right? Oh man, I don't know if I can get this rod and piston out. It's stuck. There we go. Now this one should be really easy. A nub. Just a nub. The bearings actually don't have really much damage. They're a little worn, but I don't think it was an oiling failure that caused this. The rods and pistons are all damaged from this explosion. Cylinder 5 is bent. That rod is bent, and look at that piston. That thing was almost going to come completely apart. Cylinder 3 is a chunk out of that piston as well, and there's the one that did all the damage. Cylinder 6. I wonder why that is the one that let go. Time to pull the crank. The crank has contact craters covering the counterbalance coming from the connecting rod's catastrophic collapse. The block is pretty impressive. You can see both of the bottom of these bores broken out. But the most impressive part is that. That is part of the rod, the center of the rod, which has impaled the block between the cam and the outside of the bore. I've never seen that before, and this is why I can't get the lifters out. But we're going to kind of just destroy this block trying to get these lifters out. I want to get the cam out and see how bad the cam looks. I can already see it looks terrible. But we're going to get the rest of these lifters out, and we're going to get this cam out. Mark my words. All right, see if this works. Nothing to lose here. That lifter's moving. Oh, look at that. I can kind of move the cam. It's impressive. Oh, there's one. Oh, crap. I got my tool stuck. That's what she said. That's what he said. Ah, oh, come on. Let go. All right, how many more we got? This one looks pretty easy to get out of there. That one's out of the way enough. That's all we really need to do is get these lifters out of the way enough. I think. Oh no, that one's really bad. The problem is I can't really turn the camshaft over either. Well, actually, I can. I can move it this much. That's a start. That's more than it was before. Oh man. Oh, sweet. We're just kind of hammering on stuff now. I gotta get this block out of the way. Otherwise I won't be able to get the cam out of it. I don't know if I can get that out of there. Oh, yes, I can. Oh, no, I can't. Nope. Oh, come on. Look at that. It's part of a piston right there. Pretty sure. Oh, that ain't coming out. But I think I can get the cam out now. All the lifters are hammered back in their bores. Just get that front plate off and pull the cam out. Unfortunately, I can't put a bolt in here to get the cam out. This will be fine. No, it won't be fine. That piece of rod is going to keep this from coming out. There is part of the rod. This is in the lifter galley area. And I'm going to try to hammer that part of the rod down so it can come out so then I can pull the cam out. Not that it matters, but that's what I'm going to try. Well, it's moved. I wouldn't call that better, but it has moved. It is very much in there. Maybe I have to push it all the way. I don't think it's going to come all the way through, but I'm not quite sure what to do at this point. I can't hammer on it at the right angle. I don't think that's going to work either. Yeah, I think that's one piece, guys. I don't know if this cam's coming out. Let's try one more time. Well, guys, I'm almost ready to give up. I got one other idea here. Well, it was an idea. I didn't say it was a good one. I even warned you guys it might be a bad one. Let's go from the other side. I gotta try. Well, guys, I have to throw in the towel. I cannot get that chunk of rod out, which means I cannot get the cam out. At least not for this video. It's all scrap anyway, so it's not too big of a deal. This just goes to show you that no matter how many times you've done something, you can learn something new. This is the very first LS I've ever seen with a sheared off cam bolt. I've never seen that before. I think what happened in this scenario, this was likely a high mile engine running on low octane in a high load situation, maybe towing a trailer up a steep grade. Lots of throttle involved, I promise you that. And it probably cracked a crown off a piston or melted a piston. I've seen tons of 6.2s eat pistons. I know I've mentioned that in previous videos. And when that piston came apart, it broke a rod. And at high RPM, that rod speared the block and locked the cam up. It wedged that part of the rod between the cam and like the lifter galley area. When that cam stopped, that rotating assembly is still turning at whatever RPM it was turning at, and it used the chain to shear that bolt off the cam, which then stopped the valve train, hung two of the valves open, and allowed the pistons to make contact, which is why we saw two new valve release, which weren't supposed to be there. I had a lot of fun taking this engine down. I really did. I do like taking these total disaster engines apart. I know I don't get as many parts out of them, but you know, sometimes you win and sometimes you still win. It was fun. If you'd like to buy any parts off of this engine, which there's not much, or any of the other engines I've torn down, I'm going to leave our email in the video description. And like always, I love all the comments, all the criticism, even the suggestions, all of it. I love all of it. And I'll catch you on the next one.